welcome to the Evan Gaze Crochet Knitting Podcast. My name's Jodie, I'll be your host for today. You can find me as Evan Gaze on Ravelry and Instagram. I am from Wolverhampton in the UK, where I live with my fiance and my 3 beautiful fur babies who may or may not make an appearance on this podcast. My 2 boys are sat behind me, and my cat has gone to bed. She probably won't make an appearance, but the 2 boys might. Yeah, it's been 2 weeks since I last podcasted. I hope you've all had a good 2 weeks. I am wearing my Brunin shawl. I might be butchering the pronunciation, but it's a free pattern on Ravelry. It is a 7-row repeat, and this was done with King Cole Curiosity. There's 2 of the grey balls and 1 of this purple, which I believe started off as a grey. Yeah, it's my most worn shawl. It's my favourite shawl. It's probably actually my favourite thing I've ever made. In terms of how much it's used and how much it's worn. This is the one I always gravitate to. I'm tempted to make another one in a fingering weight, but I do believe the pattern's for a DK weight. I am tempted to make another one, but because of how much I wear this one, I'm not sure if I'm going to or not. I dyed some yarn and I thought it would look really pretty in one of these, but I haven't completely made my mind up yet about whether I'm going to or not. So yeah, it's been nearly 2 weeks. I don't have much to show you. It's been a really busy 2 weeks where I haven't had that much time for knitting or crochet, and when I have, I've been leaning towards the same project, or it's kind of, I do take knitting with me on the way to work, so that is a bit more time than I have, although even then I haven't really done that much. So yeah, my first finished object is a pair of socks. These are the Mina Phillips vanilla sock recipe. This is the toe-up version with a German short row heel, 2x2 rib. I've done toes. I've done the toes properly. I've followed the pattern, which I found a lot more stressful than when I don't follow the pattern. And I've tried them on and the fit doesn't feel that different. So whether it's something I continue to do or... Okay, basically, and I think this is the same with all sock toes, you increase, knit, increase on one row and knit a row, increase on one row and knit a row, which is how I did these. And I found it a lot more stressful. They don't match exactly, although you can tell they're a pair. I didn't really enjoy working with them. It's not the nicest feeling yarn, and it's not the prettiest either. It just makes me think of pigs. And I said that to Jim and he didn't understand why. But it just makes me think of pigs. And I don't like it. So they're going to be going in my sock box. Mainly just so I can see how many pairs I have at the end of the year that I've made, because I don't know how long I'll keep logging things on Ravelry, because I've said before I was going to and then I didn't. So yeah, that's my first finished object. It felt like a real relief when they were finished. I took them with me to my grand's for dinner last Sunday and finished them there. Just as everyone was kind of talking and catching up, I was knitting the legs, and then we were watching 4 in a Bed Together, and I finished the cuff. So yeah, I only have one other finished object. It is one that I showed you last week, and it is my granny stripe cardigan. I've added sleeves. They are in a slightly different dye lot. And although you can see that on camera, it's not massively obvious. So I've added sleeves, little short sleeves, and I've done a half treble border along here. I'm finished this just in time for us to have horrible weather. I'm hoping when it gets warm this will be something I can wear quite a lot, because it's really nice yarn. I love the colours. There's little specks of purple in here that aren't coming up very well. I think there's some green specks in there as well. So this is James C. Brett's Stonewash, but I can't remember which colourway it is. I ended up having to order it off the internet, and I think I got it on eBay, so I paid a little bit more than I probably should have done for the ball. But my local yarn shop doesn't stock this yarn anymore, and neither does Hobbycraft. So if I'd have needed more than one ball, I probably wouldn't have done, but it was just one ball to finish the sleeves and that border. And I've got about half a ball left, so I'm thinking that might make a nice hat. Probably a present for someone. So yeah, that's finished. I did look at some of the other whips I showed you last week, and quite a lot of them I think are going to be frogged. But I haven't started doing that yet. So this is one of the other things I've worked on this week. I haven't done much. It's just not been what I wanted to work on. So this is the Bellatrix shawl by Hannah from the Cozy Cottage. I can't remember her surname. And when I showed it you last week, I was in this blue section, which is a Robin acrylic DK weight, and I'm now on this dark blue, which is the next one, which I believe is a Blockbuster DK weight, and I'm hoping I've got enough, because it's either Blockbuster or another Irish yarn brand, because when I went in my local yarn shop they said they're no longer going to be stocking it. So that's how much I've got left. I'm really hoping I have enough, or if I don't have enough, I can fudge it to make it look like I have enough. Yeah, I think it was a Blockbuster. It might, yeah, it's one that I have left over from the princess blanket that I made. I haven't wanted to work on this as much as I want the finished object. It's just not been what I wanted to work on, which is nothing to do with the pattern, it's nothing to do with the yarn. I just haven't been in the mood to work on that. I do want to get it finished. I think it's going to be really pretty when it's finished, and I haven't seen any Bellatrixes where it's mainly been people using the same yarns. So like 2 yarns, or like ombre yarns, which actually looks quite pretty. I haven't seen any like that where I'm going to use a different colour for every section and then bring it back to the grey and the white at the end. I just haven't really wanted to work on it, so hopefully it won't take me too long. I do have another work in progress. This has been my travel knitting for the last week. I bought this yarn on Thursday, and I think Thursday last week. I think I cast this on the Monday. So this is another pair of socks. It's the same pattern again, Mina Phillips vanilla sock. So this grey is a Signet Woolrich, and I think it's just called Shades of Grey, or Grey, something like that, or Grey Mix. And this isn't coming up very well at all. Well, that's better. So it's rainbow. I love this pink. German short row heel in this grey again, and then I've ended it on this yellow and started it almost exactly at the same point. So these are going to match really well, fingers crossed. I'm on the second sock. If you can see, I've just started on the dark grey to add the heel, and I'll do another German short row heel. This is probably the best one I've done. I did this on the tram coming home from work after something had happened at work. I think my earphones broke and I was really stressed, so I was working on the heel, which I wouldn't normally do, just to kind of keep my brain a bit busier. I love these. I am going to knit my baby sister a matching pair, but she's got bigger feet than me. And then I think, because that's how much I have left after a sock and a half, I think I might have enough to knit myself some shorty socks. maybe striping this with another colour. We'll see. That's the plan for it. Whether it works out or not is something different. Although this was £5 something a ball, so it's not even that badly priced considering what you pay in some places for sock yarn. And John Lewis is about 5 minutes away from where I work, and if I get the train, it's in the train station, so it's nice and easy to get to. So yeah, they are Rum Paradise by West Yorkshire Spinners, and they're really, once I start working on them, I don't want to stop. I'm kind of got that mentality that everyone says that one more row and I'll finish, one more row and I'll finish, one more stripe and I'll leave it, which is nice to feel like that with the project, especially after these socks that I really did not enjoy working on. So this is my last work in progress, and this is the one that's had the most work. It's gone from being a project that was put in a bag and left to one side and I never wanted to see it again, let alone work on it, to the only thing I want to work on. And that is my granny stripe blanket in the Northern Lights cakes. So here is Tyrion Lannister. This is where I was last time I podcasted, and I have added the rest of the purple, all of the blue, a whole cake of pink, and I am on my second set of grey. So that's this grey will be here. Basic granny squares, 300 stitches I believe, so it's going to be a real beast. I don't know why I'd convinced myself this wasn't going to be big enough, because it's going to be massive. Even originally I wasn't going to add the pink. It's going to be a beast. It's going to be a massive. I want it finished. It's not just a product knit. It's also I'm really enjoying working on it. I like the way because originally the blue was next to the grey and they almost melted into each other. But I like how this is like more blocks. So you've got the block of the grey, the block of the purple, and it's easy to see where it starts and where it stops. And then you've got this block of the blue, and then you've got this block of the pink. And I do prefer that to how it looked before. I prefer this stitches to... I started this in single crochet, and I've started this in garter stitch, and I really like the granny stitch. This is more what I wanted. I also started it in chevron stitch, and I can't get my head around chevron stitch. I don't know what I do wrong. I don't think I don't normally struggle with crochet patterns, but there is something about chevrons that my head doesn't it just doesn't go right. So yeah, that's everything I've worked on for the last 2 weeks. Like I said, it's been quite a busy 2 weeks. I took my driving test, which is why last week was so crazy and why I couldn't really knit or crochet and why I didn't want to. I did pass, which is really great feeling. And then this week with work and other things going on, I just haven't really had that much time. I think if I could carry this around with me everywhere, I wouldn't have any other works in progress. Because this is, yeah. Anyway, I've finished It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia season 13, the latest season that went on UK Netflix, and I didn't enjoy it as much as previous seasons. I finished Drag Race, which has now finished. I'm glad she won. I did have issues with this season, and even more issues with the I don't know if allegations is the right word, but around RuPaul himself. People are coming out and saying he's quite transphobic, and that's put me off this show a little bit, because surely that should be a safe place rather than people putting off the surgery or moving forward with their I can't think of the word, going forward with the changes so that they can go on the show. Just yeah. So I finished that. I was happy that, I'm not going to say who won, but I'm happy that she won out of the ones in the top. But I do think they had the wrong people in the top 4. And that's pretty much everything that I've watched in the last 2 weeks. I've watched a few more episodes of Married with Children, which I'm still enjoying, but it's getting a bit samey now. You can kind of guess where the jokes are going. Yeah, I haven't watched anything else. I do need something else to watch. So if you have any recommendations, that would be absolutely brilliant. I will watch near enough anything. I'm still listening to The Outsider. I think I've got about 6 hours left. Holly Gibney has now appeared, which was my main reason for listening to the book, was that she was going to be in it. So for her to not be in, I think she didn't come in until about 60% of the way through, which disappointed me a bit, because she is a character that I really like. I need to find something new to listen to, because I think I'll have finished that by Monday. Although I have got Jodie Picoult's A Spark of Light in my bag. Still waiting to read that. So I might not use Audible for a while and read some actual books. Yeah, so last week on the podcast I spoke about changes that have been made since last time I podcasted, and I was thinking about it afterwards, and although there have been changes that I spoke about, the old videos aren't there. So I thought this time I would do a little bit of an about me. So my name's Jodie. As I said at the beginning, I am from Wolverhampton. I've lived here since I was 7, I think. I was still in primary school. I now live with my partner. We've lived in this house for about 5 years. We do have 3 fur babies. We have our Pusscat. We've had her for about 7 years. She was our rescue. It's taken her a long time. This is Bobby. He's my staffy. It took Bamo a long time to get comfortable with us, and now she's basically boss of the house. So the dog whose head just popped up is Bobby. He is a staffy. We've had him for about 4 years. I think we've lived in the house 4.5 years, and we've had him for about 4 years. The guy was getting rid of him on Facebook, and that's how we got him. He's got some suspect scars on him that we don't know where have come from, and he's got some scars where he thinks everything is a game, including chasing the cat. He's gotten better now. He's like the happiest dog I have ever had. And then, as I said last week, we do have a puppy that we got just after Christmas, and that is Boomerang, who is a lurcher that my dad bred. And he's very naughty, as lurchers are. That's why my hands keep going backwards, is because they're sat behind me. Yeah, I am at university. I am studying law. I have just finished my second year at the university, but my first year of studying law, because I did a foundation year. I was out of education for about 7 or 8 years before I went back to university. And most of that was working, I think most of that was working. I've never really been out of work for long, and when I have been out of work, I've done volunteer work. So yeah, I work in a law firm, as I said last week. I'm still there. I've almost been there a year now, and I get my results from my first year on Saturday, which is absolutely terrifying. I can see me not sleeping very well tonight. So yeah, I have a sister who I'll probably talk about on podcast quite a lot. We are incredibly close, and I am engaged. We have been engaged for 5 years. Is that right? We've been engaged for 5 years. We're still no closer to getting married. Every time we get close to getting married, or we start talking about getting married, something always seems to crop up. And we did actually start to plan the wedding, and then we found this house and bought this instead. And it was a repossession with a lot of damage, so a lot of the money that could have gone on a wedding has been put into the house. So yeah, that's a little bit about me. There is a Ravelry group for this podcast with an Ask Me Anything thread. If you would like to ask me more questions, there is also there's a I should have said this at the beginning. There's a Ravelry group for this thread. There is a Ravelry group for this podcast. There is a Facebook group for this podcast, but at the moment it doesn't have any members. And I am on Instagram and Ravelry. I'll pop all the links down below. So yeah, I am hoping to start filming weekly again, and if I do that, it's probably going to be Sundays where I film. And I'm hoping that now I've taken some of the pressure off with me not having to have driving lessons as often. Well, I won't have to have driving lessons. I will be able to get a bit more work done on projects, and hopefully be able to actually finish stuff. This is still going to take me a while to finish, even with it being the only thing I want to work on. But it's raining a lot today, so I'm thinking we are going to watch some films and put some work on this blanket. So yeah, recommend me some books and some TV shows down below. Just say hello, yeah, it'd be really nice to be able to have a bit more interaction. That's something that I did miss when I wasn't filming videos. So yeah, thank you all for watching, and hopefully I'll see you next week.